Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 28, another 7 curious interesting things I saw last week. So let's crack on. First one is hot off the press, literally 2 hours ago as of recording this. This is Sir Richard Branson and 5 other passengers making the first ever commercial space flight into space and back. So this is the Unity 22 craft, as it's called, and it got to 50 miles above Earth, which NASA and America essentially say is space. So if you've been above that, then you are an astronaut. Now, actually, it turns out that the international definition is actually 100 kilometers, which is 62 miles. However, well, by the way, that's called the Kármán line. But 50 miles, fine. It's all good for PR. You are now an astronaut as far as NASA is concerned. So well done to everybody involved in that. It is obviously being a bit annoying to people like Elon Musk, especially Jeff Bezos, who had a go at the windows, the size of the windows on the aircraft. So that's clearly the level of digs you get if you're a billionaire and you're trying to have a go at somebody else's spaceship. So quite an interesting week for Richard Branson. Very interesting, and there's a whole load of video online you can go and watch. This is not actually it hitting its highest altitude. This is it releasing from its carrier ship and going another, actually twice the height. So it went up to about 80,000 feet. There you go. Very interesting. Now, this one doesn't sound interesting, but guarantee it's kind of will be, So this is the new JPEG format, the JPEG XL as it's called, or .jxl file suffix. And why is this interesting? Well, the JPEG format is about 30 years old, or 29 years old now, and it hasn't had a huge amount of updates. Now this one is a massive update. It can do things like, or it can actually work with things like 3D images, 360, panoramas, burst. It's good for printing now, so you don't really have to use TIFFs anymore if that's what you used to do. But it's actually 60% smaller than a JPEG, so the files will be tiny. And if you're thinking, well, JPEGs are kind of cool, but PNGs are better because they're lossless, it's 35% smaller in lossless format than a JPEG as well. So than a PNG. So this might actually be the only format you need. If that is the case, and the internet then started using the .jxl format for everything, it is estimated that the internet traffic will reduce data-wise by 30%. So there are that many images on the internet that if they swapped to the JPEG XL format, we would have 30% less data needed to go through servers and whatnot. So that's kind of interesting. It's not actually out yet. It's going to probably be rolling out by the end of the year, and also your browser probably can't support it right now. I know mine can't. I tried. So coming soon. This is interesting in as much as there's the war waging underneath the internet on data and sharing of data, and this is Twitter potentially showing that they're going to sign up to Google's FLOC platform. So what does that mean? So if you have been watching your privacy news, you'll know that Apple have really taken a stance on privacy. You might have also noticed pop-ups on your Apple phone if you have one to say, do you really want to be tracked across websites, of which about 96% of all Americans have said no, so clearly nobody really wants to be tracked across websites, which is fair enough. However, when you are tracked across websites, it means that advertisers know what you like, and therefore they can serve you slightly more relevant advertising. So with that gone, how do they do that? Well, Google had an idea of what's called federated learning of cohorts. So it learns, broadly speaking, what group you're in or what cohort you are in. So if you tend to go to motorbike sites and you tend to go to, I don't know, car sites, then it goes, right, I think you're in an automotive cohort. I will put you in an automotive cohort, possibly in a smaller cohort of motorbike lovers. It doesn't know who you are, but it just says, hey, advertiser, this motorbike person has turned up on your website. Do you have any adverts for motorbikes right now? So without identifying you, it can actually identify the sorts of things you're interested in. So this is Google's answer to basically having the data shut off by Apple. So looks like Twitter. This is Jane Manchin-Wong, who is a sort of tech snooper. She goes around and finds things out and has snooped this. So in the Twitter code here in the API, you can see there is clear reference to Chrome and cohort ID. So it might well be that everybody who said no to FLOC maybe there's some people who are quite big who are saying yes to it in the background. So watch that space. This is a great use of computer vision and AI. So this is a Belgian sort of tech developer who likes doing things in privacy areas, and saw that the people in Parliament were looking at their phones and thought, I can do something about this. So use the live YouTube feed of the chambers or the sessions in progress, hooked it up to an AI, could identify the faces, obviously because they are known politicians, and then if you look just below a face and try to identify whether a phone was there, then that face is probably looking at the phone, which is what was happening. So all he did is he then created a Twitter bot that every time somebody was caught looking at their phone whilst they should be listening to the speaker, should we say, then they got outed on Twitter. So he would post a little clip to Twitter with their hashtag or their name flagged in it as well. So I think that's a great use of computer vision. There you go. Norway's government have actually passed an update to their Marketing Act. This was a unanimous decision through their parliament to make sure that people who are influencers and bloggers in Norway make sure they flag when they are using filters on their images. So this is only for paid promotions, but it is to stop or reduce body pressure, as they've sort of said. So this is a great thing. So obviously if you use Snapchat filters, Instagram filters to make yourself look different or more beautiful, or give anybody sort of basically an unrealistic impression of you, then you now have to flag that in your post. Which I think is a great thing. Well done, Norway, and hopefully that will roll out across the world. 3D printed vitamins is a thing. So these have been out a year or so, I think, but I got to taste one at the weekend. They are nice, a little bit fruity, a little bit zingy. There you go. But what happens here is you fill out a form on the website. It then figures out what vitamins you might need, whether you need to stay up longer or you need to go to sleep, or whether you need strength or stamina or whatever it is, and it prints this kind of layer cake of a gummy vitamin suite. So it says it's 3D printed. Really, I doubt it's actually what we call 3D printed. I think it's just layered in layers, which I guess is 3D printing, so that's fine to say that. However, you get these things in the post and they taste nice. This is all really coming from vitamins being really an influence or a lifestyle thing of late. It's a little bit like pink salt last year or the year before. Really is probably Instagram driving a lot of this. However, eat well, you probably don't need these. But if you do need these, then there is a high-tech solution for you, and this is a company called Nourished. And finally, this may be you that they're looking for. So if you have a large cryptocurrency wallet and you have forgotten the password and you are down to your last few goes, then there's going to be a TV show for you. So this is actually by the producers of Queer Eye. So this is, you know, not a flash in the pan thing. There is a website you can go to, you can sign up, and they want to hear from you. So I'm extrapolating a little bit from what will go on here, but I assume they're going to use sort of hypnotherapists to try and find out what your password might be, etc., etc. They're probably going to use hackers and all sorts of things. And what brilliant stories behind people who've got the money that's locked up and what they were going to do with it and all that sort of stuff. So what a great format. Love this. It's got everything I need in it. It's got entertainment, it's got sort of crypto, it's got technology, it's got hackers, it's got psychology, it's got everything. So if that's you, get in touch. They need to hear from you now. So great. With that, we are done. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will speak to you next week.